Welcome to Beyond the Badge. I'm Amanda Chudnicki, and thank you for joining us. We begin with the latest on the temporary fire station. After the closing of the Central Fire Station, township officials hope to have a temporary station up and running as soon as possible. Home TV's Molly Cassidy has the details on where the temporary fire station is and what needs to be done to make it functional.
Meridian Township officials recently decided to place a temporary fire station inside the Service Center building off Okemos Road.
We came back due to cost and location. We came back to trying to use our own facility. It'll save us a lot of money.
The Service Center, used by other township departments, will be repurposed with the technology, living quarters, and safety equipment required by the fire department.
Central Service Center will be a great asset, temporarily, not optimal, but certainly it will help protect our township.
However, the temporary location does pose some risk.
Okemos Road floods south of that facility. So you could come out and have a train on your right and a flood on your left.
With heavy rain and melting snow, the water level of Lake Pine Outlet is rising. Only a few steps away is Okemos Road, with a temporary fire station about 800 feet that way.
So there could be times when we're not going to run out of there, dictated by flooding.
The township had 3 fire stations until the recent shutdown of Central Fire Station earlier this month. The station, built in the 1950s, suffered from water damage, a failing roof, and more.
In regards to what we plan to do with the former fire station, it's in very poor condition, so I don't think there's a real reuse to the building.
The fire department hopes their permanent station off Central Park Drive will be ready in the next year and a half. In Meridian Township, Molly Cassidy, Home TV.
As of right now, township officials don't know the exact cost to repurpose the service center, but say the changes will be useful to township employees long after the fire station leaves. Schools in the Lansing area plan for active shooter situations on an annual basis. Doing things such as lockdown drills help to prepare them. Home TV's Alexandra Illich tells us more.
An active shooter situation. It's a sensitive topic, one that needs to be taken seriously. The Meridian Township Police Department works very closely with schools in the area to prepare for the situation if it were to happen.
We do annual training, and we typically do it in a school setting. We have done it in other settings, and we have a cooperative arrangement with the schools to use their facilities.
Lieutenant Frenger says his best advice in these situations is to fight. Do not assume that if you don't become aggressive with an active shooter that they will be easy on you.
The schools have plans. The schools have, safety plans for when these happen.
So far, there is no record of any active violent situation within the school district. However, the police department will not take their chances and will continue to provide security for the schools on an ongoing basis. How can you prepare for situations like this? Well, to start, get familiar with the surroundings of your school. Know where all the exits are. And when the school does things like practice lockdown drills, take them very seriously. Caitlin Seski, a teacher assistant for Wexford Montessori, said although an active shooter situation can be scary, as a teacher, it is something you should prepare for.
I think one tip as a teacher is not to try and overreact, because you are the role model for the students.
But how can schools engage students and teachers to understand the severity of the situation?
And I think that talking about it would really make students aware and realize that it's a real thing and that could really happen.
In Meridian Township, Alexandra Illich, Home TV.
If you want to learn more tips on how you can better prepare yourself for situations such as this, you can visit the U.S. Department of Homeland Security website at dhs.gov/active-shooter-preparedness. Michigan State University also has plans in the event that an active shooter should step foot on campus. Home TV's Melissa Sebring tells us more.
Michigan State University experienced a shooting near campus in January that resulted in the death of one of their students. While it was off campus, it still shocked the students and staff.
Honestly, after that Cedar Village shooting, I was a little bit shaken up. I thought they took kind of a long time notifying the students of what was actually going on.
But with a recent false alarm regarding a training weapon, MSU Police Department did not waste any time alerting students and staff and also letting them know that it was safe.
But I thought that they did much better notifying people right away, and that made me feel good that they kind of are figuring that out anyway.
Jacqueline and one of her other classmates were informed about the possible threat through the MSU alert system. However, these alerts only contain information about the situation, and some people think faculty and students could benefit from more information.
Overall, I don't it doesn't really tell people what to do, so besides just take care and be careful, but I think the more knowledge the better in those kind of situations.
But some of the professors were prepared, even though they were not in the threatened building.
I felt like our professor actually did a great job. You could tell that he was really shaken up, but right away, right once we notified him that, we put a thing in front of the window in the room, blocking the door. He made all the other students move to the side that you couldn't be able to see them through. And then he also found some storage closet that we were able to go into in case we also heard something going on.
If you would like to sign up for the alert system, go to alert.msu.edu. In East Lansing, Melissa Sebring, Home TV.
Police identified a possible suspect in the January 31st shooting of an MSU student. 19-year-old Marqua McCoy was originally arrested for skipping parole last month after assaulting and injuring a police officer. However, McCoy is now being questioned in connection to the murder of 20-year-old Dominique Nolf. The case is still under investigation, and stay with Home TV for any updates. When we come back, we learn how to hold a gun properly and the safety precautions that come along with it. You're watching Beyond the Badge on Home TV.
You may have noticed a change in outdoor warning sirens. Here's what you need to know.
In Ingham County, all outdoor warning sirens will be tested at 1 o'clock p.m. on the first Saturday of every month. Every other Saturday, a silent test will be conducted.
If you hear the sirens at any other time than the testing time, that means there's severe weather in the area. Please take shelter immediately and tune to your local TV or radio stations for further updates.
Having a plan in place will keep your family safe.
They say that when you're facing extreme danger, your life flashes before you. If you think that's sad, consider facing it before you even have enough life to flash before your eyes. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Deaths and injuries can be prevented by using the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat to know what is appropriate for each age and size.
Welcome back. We took a ride to Total Firearms in Holt, Michigan to learn more about gun safety. And here's what we found out. We're here at Total Firearms in Holt, Michigan with Rick Wyatt, who is a pistol license and firearm instructor here at Total Firearms. He's here today to talk a little bit about gun safety. Okay. So basically, can you start off by showing me how to correctly hold a gun?
Okay. First, before we go into holding the gun, there's some things you need to know first. Okay. First of all, if you had drugs or alcohol, leave the gun alone, period. They do not mix. Second of all, before we handle a gun, we're going to make sure we're in a safe area to use the gun. NRA's first rule is make sure that you have a good backstop. And right here we've got a concrete wall. We've got 5 different firearms down here. So we're in a safe position right now for demonstrating how to use a gun. Doesn't make any difference if the gun is loaded or not. Always make sure you know what's behind you when you start handling a gun. Okay. Like I said, I've brought down 5 different guns. Guns come in different sizes, semi-automatic, revolver-style guns, and the way you handle a gun, the way you hold a gun is different for each gun. First rule that I like to teach is if you're going to pick up a gun, learn to pick the gun up the same way every time. Learn to hold it the same way every time. And what we instruct people is make a Y with your thumb in your hand. Okay. On the firearm, this particular firearm, it's empty. This particular firearm is a Glock. This here's called the back strap. Okay. When you pick the firearm up, you put the back strap high into that Y, and then you wrap your fingers around the grip like this. Okay. Go ahead and make the Y. You right-handed?
Yes.
Okay. So hold your hand out like this. Okay. This goes deep into the Y. Okay. Don't put your finger on the trigger. Okay. But wrap your other 3 fingers down below. Now, first thing I'm going to tell you about this gun is the gun's too big for you. Okay. I can tell that just by looking at it, but for demonstration purposes, this is going to work. Okay. This is what they call a one-hand grip. To turn it into a two-handed grip, which gives you a lot more control, you take your left hand, you make it flat, and you just bring your fingers up underneath, just like this, and your thumbs are going to be parallel. Okay. Cup the gun. Yeah, don't point it at me. I get enough of that from customers. Okay. Your thumbs are parallel. Okay. And then extend your arms all the way out. This arm's locked. Push with this hand, pull with this hand, and that gives you the most control. Okay. And this is basically how you hold a semi-automatic firearm. We have some set rules. Number one, you're a brand new shooter, and when you come back to shoot, we're going to have you start with a .22 caliber. The reason we start you with a .22 caliber, very, very low recoil, a lot less noise. It's not quite as intimidating. And so our regular range instructors are going to be able to get you shooting that gun very effectively in half hour, 45 minutes. Okay. The biggest mistake a lot of people make is they jump into too much gun right off the bat. We have customers come in who bring their wives, their girlfriends, someone in who's never shot, and they demand that that this friend be allowed to shoot their .40 cal. Well, .40 cal is way too much gun for most brand new shooters, and we've had people insist upon that, raise all kinds of cane with us, and 1 or 2 times we've relented, and in both situations it turned out that the gun intimidated the person, and they never came back. We would rather start you with a small gun that you can control, where we can also control you a lot better and have you work your way up through, up to a 9mm and then your .40 cal and .45, than to have you get all intimidated, because the intimidation factor alone is a safety issue. I have seen people on the firing line who have never shot a handgun before, who had too much gun. They pull the trigger, the gun goes off, they freak and they drop the gun. I've never seen a gun go off like that, but I've heard reports of it happening. So there's a lot of things that need to be taken into account when we talk about safety. If you'd ever plan to buy a gun, I recommend, for your safety and anyone who's watching safety, they go to a full-service gun shop. Someplace like Total Firearms, where we have a lot of firearms here, where you can handle the guns, make sure that the gun fits. If the gun does not fit you, you're not going to be comfortable with it. You're not going to practice with it. If you're not going to practice with it, you might as well not own it.
And for those that do have their license and have a gun in their household, what safety precautions what advice can you give for them, just to make sure it doesn't get in the wrong hands, especially of a child? You hear, those stories, the child on the gun.
Always keep your firearms secure. If you have small children in the house, if you've got small children in the house, the very first step that you need to take is you need to start educating those children early that this is mother's gun or this is father's gun. If you see it out, you don't touch it. And as children get older, when they start to get more curious, the best thing to do at that time is to take them someplace and teach them how to shoot, and tell them, okay, if you've got any curiosities, or if you want to shoot, just say so. We'll make some time, we'll get some ammunition, we'll go to the range. And this is going to go a long way to keep them from playing with that gun behind your back. But remember, you are liable for whatever happens with that gun. You can be both civilly liable and criminally liable. So if you've got kids that are really in that curiosity stage, we recommend that you find a way to enclose the gun in some kind of locking case, and especially with small kids, put the gun up on the shelf in the closet where they can't get to it. We have a person that used to shoot here all the time who one Saturday morning got up and he was coming out to the range to shoot and he couldn't find his gun. It was in a nice secure gun case where the child couldn't get into it, and what he was starting to think is he tore his closet apart looking for it. He's starting to think it was stolen, and he's starting to get all kinds of loud and you know, just going on and on and on, and all of a sudden he hears his wife laughing, and she comes walking in the bedroom, and she's got his gun case, his secure gun case. She had found it in their 5-year-old's toy box because the 5-year-old put daddy's toy with his toys. So keep the guns up where they can't reach them.
And do you have anything else to add just about safety in general with guns?
Well, first thing that like I said, no drugs, no alcohol. If you've been drinking or if you've taken medication that you're not familiar with, leave the gun in the safe or leave the gun in the lockbox. Second of all, anytime you handle a firearm, you notice every time I picked one of these up, we checked to make sure it was empty.
Okay.
Always make sure, anytime you're handing guns back and forth between people, make sure that the gun is empty. If you go into a gun shop and you're looking at guns and they pull out a gun and hand it to you and they haven't safety checked it, please just stand there and wait for them to safety check it. If they start to look at you like you're a little stupid, say, would you please clear the firearm for me? That will probably remind them that's part of their job.
Okay.
The same thing goes between two individuals. Always make sure that the firearm's clear. Always make sure that you know what's downrange from you when you handle the firearm. And always make sure that you don't point guns at other people, even if you know it's unloaded, because that's where most of the accidents happen.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Okay.
And thank you at home for watching Beyond the Badge on Home TV.
What happens when I call 911? How do police investigate a crime? What is officer safety and why is it important to me? Become a more informed citizen by attending Meridian Township Police Department's Citizens Academy. The free program helps you get informed, participate in your community's crime prevention effort, and build a relationship with your police department. To learn more about the Academy and sign up, visit meridian.mi.us.
If you drive buzzed, it could cost you around $10,000. You'll face major legal fees, major fines, and steep insurance penalties. You could lose everything. Buzzed, busted, and broke, because buzz driving is drunk driving.
In a world filled with unanswered questions about taxes, questions are answered. Lost your bill? Connect to our website and look up your current tax bill. Can't remember if you paid? Log in and see. Want to know what your neighbor's pay in taxes? Check it out online. GIS map assessing and tax information gets you the answers you need now.
When some people struggle with their mortgage payments, they become frozen, petrified. Not knowing what to do, they do nothing. But the people who take action are far more likely to get the most positive outcome. Making home affordable is a free government program. Call now to talk one-on-one with a housing expert about the options that are right for you. Real help, real answers, right now.
With St. Patrick's Day approaching, heavy drinking is common, which could potentially lead to drunk driving. I talked to Officer Robert Jers about the dangers of driving under the influence, and here's what I found out. Roughly $5,000 in fines and 93 days in jail. all for drunk driving one time. Is it really worth it? With prom season, March Madness, and St. Paddy's Day all approaching, more and more people will be put in the position to either drink and drive or find a safe ride home.
The safest way to get home is to have a sober driver, so that someone that has had nothing to drink. If you go out with a group of 4 people and you choose the person that has had the least to drink, that's not a designated driver. That is a less drunk driver.
Officer Robert Jers of the Meridian Township Police Department said another option is to set money aside and simply call a taxi. If you don't choose either of these options and instead make the poor decision to drink and drive, officers like Jers will be looking for you.
Swerving, you can't stay within one lane, you cross left of the center line. Someone who has varying speed, so they go from putzing along 20 below the speed limit to 10 over the speed limit, so their speed changes quite often. They may use a turn signal for the wrong direction.
If officers suspect that a driver is under the influence, they will pull them over and have them perform a sobriety test.
To the tip of your nose and then the other one.
I did it. It's clear that consuming even little amounts of alcohol can affect your ability to walk in a straight line. And if you can't do that, you shouldn't be operating a motor vehicle. Officer Jers said drinking and driving could cost thousands of dollars in fines, but more than that, it could cost a life. In Meridian Township, Amanda Chednicki, Home TV. If you're on the road and suspect a drunk driver, officers encourage calling 911. Whenever alcohol is involved, always be sure that you have a safe ride home. If your group doesn't have a designated driver, there are many taxi cab services available to you around Meridian Township to help avoid the dangers of drinking and driving.
Worse yet, you could get in an accident, hurt or kill someone. It's very easy. You think you've got it down, you think you're okay, but if you've been drinking, you're not okay. You need to find some other way home.
Remember to never get in the car with someone who has been drinking. And if you do have a friend that has had one too many, take their keys and find them a safe ride home. This is a reminder from all of us at Home TV to please drink responsibly. Well, that brings us to the end of our show. Don't forget to like Beyond the Badge on Facebook. And remember, you can always watch us online at hometv.net. I'm Amanda Chednicki. Be sure to be safe, and we'll see you next time here on Beyond the Badge.